but I can't see their faces yet." "Or their numbers," Demery said. He turned back into the dimness of the adobe. Frank Renda, with the shotgun, was coming directly toward her. But the second rider crossed the yard diagonally and remained on the far side of the wagon. He carried a Winchester straight up, the stock resting on his thigh and his hand gripping it through the lever. The two men whom Carla could not yet see, who sat in the back of the empty wagon with their legs hanging over the end gate, and the driver, looked toward the adobe as they drew nearer. They wore curl-brimmed, pre-shaped straw hats. Their shirts and levis were faded and sweat-stained, and a number was stenciled on the right thigh of each of the three men's levis. The same number was stenciled in back, below the belt line. The driver wore number 22, the men on the end gate 17 and 18. Frank Renda dismounted. He let his reins trail and came toward Carla, carrying the shotgun under his arm. A man about her father's age, in his mid-40s, but heavier than her father, thicker through the chest and shoulders, and wearing a mustache. A full, untrimmed, tobacco-stained mustache that almost completely covered the firm line of his mouth. He stopped in front of Carla, blocking her view of the men in the wagon. He stood close to her, the shotgun barrel touching her skirt, but she didn't move, not even her eyes, and she returned his gaze. "Where's my stuff, Carla?" He smiled, saying this, but the smile was not in the sound of his voice. "In the shed," Carla answered. Renda motioned toward the open shed that extended out from the east wall of the adobe. Carla saw the rider who was still mounted walk his horse toward it, his Winchester across his pommel now. Then, as the wagon moved on, passing close to her, she glanced at the two convicts on the end gate. For a moment her eyes held on the man wearing number 18. She looked away then, quickly, her gaze going to the shed, feeling an unexpected excitement in seeing him, and suddenly afraid it would show on her face. She did not try to explain the feeling, for it was not something that could be reasonably explained, even to herself. This was the 9th time she had seen him. She was sure of that. 8 times in the past month, delivering mail to the convict camp. She had taken the trail down through the canyon and passed him on the new road. Riding along the stretch of road construction, passing the convicts and the guards, then seeing him. Watching him, until it would be obvious that she was watching, and then she would look away. 8 times this way, and always with the feeling that she knew what he was thinking. Knowing that he was watching the guards, following their moves and trying to locate the 10 or 12 Apache trackers who were always mounted and always somewhere above the canyon, but seldom in sight. Each time she had wanted to say to him, "Please don't try it, please." Again, for a reason she did not even attempt to understand, though she wondered if others sensed his wanting to escape as strongly as she did. That was part of it, the knowing what he was thinking. That and the feeling that she had known him a long time, as if he were a boy she had gone to school with in Wilcox, and had been close to, and had seen every day, and was now seeing again after a lapse of 6 or 7 years. But she had never laid eyes on him before a month ago, and even now she did not know his name. This was the first time he had been brought to Pinaleño with the supply detail. Now she watched Renda walking off after the wagon, seeing, beyond him, the wagon pulling up in front of the open shed. She could feel the rider with the Winchester looking at her, but she did not raise her eyes to him. Her father had said that his name was Brazil, Renda's head guard, and her father had said he was a gunman, a man paid purely and simply for his gun, and probably deserved to be wearing a straw hat and numbered pants as much as any convict in the camp. The driver was standing in the wagon bed now, his head even with the shed roof. He would stoop under it, into the straight-line shade of it, to take the sacks of flour and dried beans and salt that the 2 men who had been on the end gate handed up to him. He would drag the sacks to the front of the wagon and stack them, taking his time, as if trying to make this last as long as possible. Now and again he would glance at Carla. She noticed this, but most of the time her